Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, say the line. Say the line. Say the line. Hello and welcome to a quick-fire edition of Talk Shop, the series where we look at high-profile speeches from high-profile people and we analyse what did we like and what could they still do better. This time it is Humza Yousaf announcing his resignation as the First Minister of Scotland, which he delivered on the 29th of April 2024. Let's have a look.
I lead, I've concluded that repairing our relationship across the political divide can only be done with someone else at the helm. I have therefore informed the SNP's National Secretary of my intention to stand down as party leader and ask that she commences a leadership contest for my replacement as soon as possible.
It's taken nearly a quarter of the speech for the former First Minister to actually get to the point, for the reason why he's there, which is to announce his resignation. Instead, he's done actually what his predecessor did in her resignation speech, which is start with the background, the rationale for their decision, this happened, that happened, and therefore, conclusion, I'm out of here. It's often what we see in academic writing. We build an argument and we work our way towards a conclusion. The problem with that is that the audience knows why he's here and is waiting for him to hurry up and get to the point. And it's like, blah, 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 I don't really care, say the line. We need you to say the line. So here's what I'm going to suggest for Mr. Yousaf or anybody who is ever writing a resignation speech in future. That should be your opening line. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm announcing my intention to resign as First Minister of Scotland. And once he's said the line, great, now you can get into the reasons, now get into the rationale, the background, the history if you really need to. Because now the audience are listening rather than the other way around when we're impatiently thinking, yeah, come on, say the line, say the line, say the line.
Let me say to my SNP family, I will always be with you. I will always campaign alongside you. We have had setbacks in our movement, but we have overcome them, and we will do so again. Independence feels frustratingly close, and believe me, no one feels that frustrating.
This is very interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, for the supporters of the SNP, who, in fairness, he intimated that message was for, frustratingly close. I would imagine pro-independence supporters would even themselves raise an eyebrow to that and say, is it? Really? Have I missed something? And even the people who are on the outside are able to say, well, no, all evidence would point to the opposite. I fail to recall, for example, the last time it was actually front and centre of the news agenda when we were actively discussing independence or a second referendum. Instead, it has been overtaken in the news cycle by the cost of living crisis, inflation, sometime there will be a general election, as well as high-profile conflicts around the world, let alone the issues within the SNP themselves. So this idea of it being frustratingly close, I imagine people on both sides of the argument would raise an eyebrow to that phrase. I would have reworded it.
Close, and believe me, no one feels that frustration more than the leader of the SNP. But the last few miles of the marathon are always the hardest, and we have run this race as a team, and I now will prepare to pass the baton to successor, who I'm absolutely certain will lead us over the finish line.
Unsure how many marathons Mr. Yousaf has run, but typically it's a solo thing rather than batons. That would be a relay race, but nice idea.
But while government, of course, must act in good faith, so must their opposition, and be prepared to collaborate with us, not just oppose for opposition's sake. The only people who suffer as a result of such an impasse are the very public that we seek to serve.
Quick note here, often we encourage people to change the word public to people, because public often has that connotation of the great unwashed, the hoi polloi of society, very much an us and them. So much better instead, change public to people.
That can transform people's lives for the better. So to my colleagues in opposition, regardless of political party, I genuinely do wish you well. I bear no ill will and certainly bear no grudge against anyone.
If you're familiar with our training, the former First Minister has just come out with two excellent pink elephants, which is, I bear no ill will and I certainly don't hold any grudges. This is, if you're hearing this for the first time, a classic pink elephant. So if I said to you, don't think about a pink elephant right now, your brain has to deal with the image before it moves on to something else. So there, he's left us with the image of bearing ill will and holding grudges, which is what he doesn't do. So this can get a bit messy. What do we need you to do instead? Speak positively. Leave people with the right image rather than the wrong image. And interestingly enough, he actually did give us the right image, which was, I wish them well. That's the right image. And then he's gone on and said the two unnecessary negatives, which is no ill will, and I definitely don't hold any grudges, which kind of sounds like you do. So watch out for those pink elephants, the things that you're not doing, you can't do, you would never do, because it leaves the audience thinking of that very thing.
Politics can be a brutal business. It takes its toll on your physical and mental health. Your family suffer alongside you. I am in absolute debt to my wonderful wife, my beautiful children, and my wider family for putting up with me over the years. I'm afraid you'll be seeing a lot more of me from now.
In the spirit of fair analysis, that is a really difficult thing to do, which is to be as vulnerable as that in a speech of that caliber, knowing full well that hundreds of thousands of people, perhaps millions, are watching it live, millions more will see it afterwards, and some people will then analyse every single line and put it on social media. So there is bravery needed to bring up family or people who mean a lot to you towards the end of a speech. And for the critics out there who just don't like the guy and say, oh, it's crocodile tears, put yourself in his shoes for just a second, because he probably hasn't slept very well for a couple of weeks, stressed out as nut, knowing full well he's going to have to resign from his position on live TV, 14 months in the job, and you're giving that speech, and towards the end you bring up the people who mean the most to you. It would take a hardened soul to go through that without feeling a little bit of a lump in your throat or a bit of that emotion. So credit where credit is due. That is difficult to do, and he managed to get through it without descending into floods of tears, which is what I would do. So well done.
But I am so grateful, I'm so blessed for having the opportunity that are afforded to so few to lead my country. And who could ask for a better country to lead than Scotland? Thank you very much.
It's a good speech. It's well written. The structure could do with some changes. The delivery is good. His mix of looking at the notes and the eye contact is as good as I imagine you could do in a very limited space of time. And there is some emotion in there as well. Critics, of course, will see that as crocodile tears. To me, that felt genuine. He moved on to his family, the thing that often means the most to many of us, and that's where the tears began to come, where you could hear it in his throat. He was feeling that emotion. That to me is absolutely fine, particularly when you are quitting your job on TV that's going to be watched by millions of people. So overall, a good speech, a couple of changes to the structure. Watch out for some of the pink elephants. We'll be right as rain for the next resignation speech we hear from any future Prime or First Minister, which I'm sure will be a few. That is it for this edition of a very quick-fire talk shop. Of course, if you want to find out more or watch some more of our analysis, you can do on our YouTube. And if you want to learn how to do this yourself, go to the Pink Elephant Academy, use the discount code TALKSHOP, you'll get a chunk of money off the cost of the course. Till next time, speak slowly and smile. Unless, of course, you're resigning, in which case, serious.